this was definitely a miss, and that's Walker Kessler, somebody that I think can still salvage a season, will not be on Alfred Şengün's level. You know what I'm saying? If Jalen Duren gets healthy, I don't think he's going to even be on Jalen Duren's level, but I think he's slowly but surely starting to get back into the mix. Here are the top 5 players you need to pay attention to for buy low opportunities in fantasy basketball. Jared Allen is ranked 87th in points leagues this year. That is gross for him. Like, we expect a whole lot more from him. And where people drafted him, they're probably like kicking themselves for picking him up. But for people who didn't draft him, this could be an opportunity. I don't know how much higher he'll go for points leagues, but I know he's better than 87. So people who are in that area with him right now are players like Malcolm Brogdon, Dennis Schroeder, Kobe White, Drew Holiday, Jalen Johnson, who's out, Keegan Murray, Jalen Williams, Tobias Harris. You know, this is a player like any of those guys, pretty much. Yeah, any one of those guys I would offer up for Allen. You know, so if you could bring Allen back in a buy low deal, I would go for it, man. I would absolutely go for it. The next player that I want to take a look at is someone who recently came off an injury and honestly has not been performing at the level that we expected from him, and people are concerned. One could even argue that managers who picked him up or held on to him or grabbed him off of waivers are panicking a little bit, and that's Trey Murphy III. Trey Murphy III is way better than this, right? He's only averaging 16.3 points per game. Oh, like, he's only played 6 games, so it's a really small sample size, but we expect a lot more from him. So I think if you have a manager in your league who's panicking about him, like, man, I'm going to be like, get over here, like old school, you know what I'm saying, Mortal Kombat style. I'll take him off your hands. And you could probably throw some of your lower tier players over to get Trey Murphy, because most likely the manager who has him on his team, his or her team, is probably not like super in love with him because they drafted and had to hold, or they grabbed him off of waivers. So I would go ahead and bust that move. The next player we want to take a look at is another player who is underperforming like you wouldn't believe, but still has some standalone value. At number 90, we have Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray is another player that I would be targeting in a buy low scenario to see if I can bring him back. He is still knocking down threes, which is really good for category leagues, but overall, people expected a little more from him. The next guy I want to take a look at is someone we have talked about on this show a bunch. Somebody that, honestly, I've been in support of during the offseason, and honestly, due to his lackluster performance thus far, has gotten me roasted in a lot of situations. And as you know, if you watch this channel, I always raise my hand when I get it wrong on a player. And I'm not the one that's like waving a flag and like setting off fireworks when we get it right, but I want to make sure we do point out when we have some hits. But this was definitely a miss, and that's Walker Kessler, somebody that I think can still salvage a season, will not be on Alfred Şengün's level. You know what I'm saying? If Jalen Duren gets healthy, I don't think he's going to even be on Jalen Duren's level, but I think he's slowly but surely starting to get back into the mix. So if I could make a deal to bring him over to my team, it looks like OG Anunoby is in that range. I don't know if I would do that, but definitely Cole Anthony, who's 110, Walker Kessler's 108. I would offer Cole Anthony up in a heartbeat. RJ Barrett, I would offer up. Asar Thompson, I would offer up. And a lot of these guys who are in this area, even Russell Westbrook, I would offer him for Walker Kessler. So, again, I definitely missed on that, you know, during the offseason, but hopefully he can somehow salvage this season. The next guy I want to take a look at is a player that has been a staple of my fantasy teams for years, and I am slowly but surely kind of stepping away from him, but some people are kind of sleeping on him, right? And there are some worries and concerns about him being traded. We're talking about number 36 in points leagues right now, DeMar DeRozan. He's a player that, you know, depending on what you have to give up for him might be a really smart play, because one thing you could say about him is that he stays healthy. Like DeMar, for the most part, is one of the healthiest like fantasy assets. He'll be available for you when you need him in the fantasy playoffs. People do have concerns that he might be traded, and they're not sure what that looks like. But, for me, I'm all for it. Honestly, people like CJ McCollum. I would trade CJ McCollum for DeMar DeRozan. Tyler Hero, I would move him for DeMar DeRozan. Maybe a player like maybe even Anthony Simons, I would consider that, depending on, how he looks over the next couple of days. So just pay attention to it, see what you have in your mix. But DeMar DeRozan is somebody that I would definitely think about buying low on. Actually, in second thought, I would probably hold Anthony Simons. I retract that one. I'll probably hold on trading away my boy Anthony Simons. But I would look at buying low on DeMar DeRozan. Now, you know that I do the bonus players typically for waiver wires. I don't typically do that for waiver wire targets, but I don't typically do that for the buy lows. But you know what? I had some extra guys here, and I wanted to just share them with you. Another buy low I'd be looking at is Cam Johnson. Another one is Jaylen Brown, Dame Lillard, Kyle Kuzma, and Asar Thompson. And Asar Thompson it's breaking my heart, the fact that his minutes are so up and down. Stay close to the story to see what happens with him, because I think he could have a really, really great season. And he's had some really good moments so far, and hopefully he can continue to keep putting out that kind of production. But now that you are prepared to dominate in fantasy basketball, make sure you check out our episode about the secret weapon for fantasy that no one is talking about.